You need a body shop? You need engine repair? Auto Excellence, Collision Specialists, 631-261-6420. That's 631-261-6420. Auto Excellence.
The Monty and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah.
Magic word alleged, which we love so much. In 2015, I know. In 2015, several former trainees took to social media, like half the world does, to tell stories about your alleged, there's the word, misconduct. The WWE investigation found zero wrongdoing on your part, but you decided to resign. Why did you resign? And share your thoughts on what you were going through during the allegations, please, if you can.
So here's the interesting part about this conversation we're having right now. Up until now, I don't think I've ever addressed this.
Okay.
By choice. So I'm going to say this. I feel like, and it goes back to what I said earlier when we were talking about Vince's situation. I'm not a big fan of allegations and accusations, and I was no stranger to them prior to becoming the head of, the Performance Center and doing all those things. I continue to find it interesting that people who don't make it, particularly in the WWE,
okay,
wait till they lose their opportunity, their job, or something to voice that kind of opinion. If it's something that serious and offensive, then why wasn't it addressed when you're told that you have open forum to speak to anybody at any time? I will say the Performance Center has cameras in every room, corner, square foot of the building, so everything is seen 24 hours a day. And to be honest, instead of addressing all that, the reason I resigned is this. Just like Triple H and so many others that helped take the NXT brand from FCW and the Tampa area and to build it into what it became and kind of what it still is. I put a lot of time, effort, sweat, emotion into helping build that brand and that Performance Center, and worked with those men and women on what they did and what they tried to do. And I thought it was the best thing to not tarnish what was about to happen. Because if you look back at that time in 2015, we were just branching outside of Florida. And so things were really starting to grow.
Yep, NXT was taking over.
And I knew what was coming down months in advance because I was a WWE employee. I was the head of the PC. So Paul and I talked every day, and I knew the numbers and where we were going to go and what we were going to do and how we were going to get there. And I take great pride in that. And so when all of this came up, and to your fact, publicly stated zero justification for anything that was said, done, written, or posted. And it wasn't the first time it happened, and every time it was investigated. When I say investigated, human resources, the whole thing. But what was happening was the court of public opinion and the social media, and because NXT was starting to branch out and become this world brand, there was starting to make, there could be this mark on it. So I just took the high road. There's no other explanation. I called my wife from Ohio, and I said, I'm going to get on a plane and I'm coming home. She said, everything okay? I said, I'm done. Because we all didn't work that hard to have it just thrown around, to go through what? Months of goofiness like they're going through now, fast forward 7 years later, whatever it is. I just didn't. Why do you work so hard to build something up to let people tear it down? So, J.J. Dillon told me something a long time ago in WCW when I first got there. He said he's the guy with the bullseye on his back because people think he makes all the decisions. And when I became a trainer after Tough Enough and Deep South and all these other things, it became the Bill DeMott dartboard. And for people to honestly think that I was the one in control of all decisions on who made it, who didn't make it, who had a job, who didn't have a job, who's getting a push, who's not worth it, who's doing this. I mean, you got to be. I appreciate the accolades, but you got to be out of your mind. So, like I said, I always say in my close personal circle, someone had to lay on the sword. So I laid on the sword.
Were you confused when somebody like Hannibal was coming forth and saying? I mean, how do you feel about him when he tries to interview? I mean, how does that get worked out?
Well, but that's his gig, right? He's one of these guys we're talking about. Like, that's his gig,
right?
He was one of those guys who he was trying out to be a wrestler and all these things, and if it doesn't work, well, then let me tear the business apart. Okay. Get all the views you want, get all the likes you want, get all the follows you want.
Gotcha.
And if that's your job, do your job, man, and be proud of what you're doing. But I don't have to put my head on his pillow at night, and I don't have to put my head on some of the other people's pillows. And the fact that how many years later, one of those talents came out on one of the sites and said, I was wrong, I shouldn't have done it, but I was protecting myself over everything else. Well, the damage is already done, so it doesn't matter what kind of apology you put out there.
Right.
And to be honest, I could have been very bitter and very crap. I feel like I could have blown this whole industry up if I wanted to at the time.
Could have.
Because at the time, and even still now, there's nobody who knew more about what was going on than me. Emails, text messages, conversations, program reports, talent reports, and, all these things. I could have really done some damage and went into business for myself, but that's not who I am. That's not the business I got into. It's not how I was brought into the business. And so respectfully, I didn't want to, I didn't want to offend Paul. I didn't want to put him in a position that he shouldn't be put in. And we all worked too hard to build a brand. And so
you enjoy working with Paul? How was Triple H?
Oh, man. I never got to work with him in the ring. But I got to know him, and when I talk about serious conversations, we're, life and business and things like that. But his vision became my vision. He inspired me every day to be better. He inspired me to protect his vision. I felt like his personal bodyguard when so many people saw it going, they were, oh, let's do this. And I would always be the voice of, I'd hear Paul and I knew his vision and okay, let's stay the course. But I enjoyed working with him. I enjoyed getting to know him as a man and a father and on a personal level and professionally. I think the guy's a genius and he's got a tremendous insight. We both came from the Northeast. We both came from the same kind of trainers in the same time. And I looked at my career and go, wow, I feel pretty secure in what I did. And I look at what he's done, and this is a guy with a passion and a belief, and he trusts certain people, and I felt like he trusted me, and I had to do my job. And at the same time, when it came time to protect the brand and the company and Paul, I feel like I did what I had to do.
Well, kudos to you, Bill. And
Oh yeah.
And again, thank you. But I don't say that to go, oh, he's a great. No,
but
I firmly admit I'm an asshole at times.
No, but you clearly came across. You knew what you had to do. What you thought was best for the company and McMahon. But so here you have this friendship with I'm going to call him Triple H because I don't know him as Paul. And he knows what you did. The allegations are proven not to be true, but he understands what you're doing. Can you share with the people what your conversation was when you decide to part ways? What does Triple H say to you?
He tried to talk you out of it.
We just looked at each other because you have to come face to face with your boss. And to be quite honest, I told Paul when I came back in 2011, when he first called me to come back after the last Tough Enough with Stone Cold, and I told him when I came back, regardless of what has happened in the past, I'll never do anything to embarrass you. That's my promise. And that was the conversation when I left Ohio that day after our first live event outside of Florida. I promised I'd never do anything to embarrass you. So I appreciate you, man. And that was kind of it.
What? Yeah. No, I'm behaving myself. No, I'm not playing in abandoned buildings. What? Again? Now, I suppose you had those people follow me again. Fine. Hey, this is Jimmy Farrow from Monty and the Pharaoh, and I want to thank all our subscribers. We have now passed 14,000 on our YouTube channel. But I want to ask our subscribers to take the next step for us and become a full-fledged member of Monty and the Pharaoh. Yeah, that's right, folks. There's 3 different levels to choose from. There's free shirts. There's free autographs. Just check it out and become a member of Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh. Later.